you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jimmy. We're making it work. We're gonna spend a day in the shop. Messy or not, we gotta get it done. We got cars to fix. We gotta catch up on some things. Wife had eye surgery yesterday. It went well. She's doing really good. So, back to work. Learning things, having fun, getting people back on the road, taking care of our family. If you've been around a while, you know the deal. We're gonna get in here and get this place going. We got a lot of work to do on that Isuzu Trooper. Apparently now we're doing the brakes too. I gotta do finish the passenger side axle. We gotta do the driver's side axle. Let's finish getting the shop open up and get started. Stay tuned. Got a beautiful 57-degree day. Real nice out there, actually. Warming up a little bit. It'll be in the mid-70s today. We may do some other things other than the Isuzu, but we'll see. That's where we're at right now. My axle's over there. It was there. Oh, Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I'm gonna get some coffee and we'll come back working on this thing, I think. That is freaking cool, Rob. Thanks. An AC flush kit, which I don't have to flush AC a lot, but when you do, this thing will come in handy. Instead of pouring it in the hose and using a blowgun to blow it out, you pour the chemicals in the tank, hook up the shop air, and it does chemicals and air at the same time. Thanks, Rob. That's going to come in handy. We'll be using it in some videos. I'm starting to roll in some goodies for my project truck. I'm going to repaint the brake booster, which I messed up with rust treatment chemicals. I'm going to repaint that. I got some, I bought a carburetor gasket kit, so I have in case, because carburetors, Hollies especially, you're constantly tinkering with them. If I drove it every day, it'd be less cantankerous. I may just take it off, like I said in another video, and put fuel injection on it, but I'm holding out on that as long as I can because it's expensive. Power valve, I'm going to go down to 5.5. You generally want these, when the vacuum drops, they open up and let more fuel in the motor. So you want them half whatever your idle intake vacuum is, and my truck's about 11 or 12, and that carburetor comes at a 6.5, which isn't quite half. So when I open it up to check it to see if there's debris in the needle and seat or something making it flood, I'm going to change the power valve to a lower one. Also got a fuel filter for it. I'm going to put a second. I had a fuel filter before the pump and no fuel filter after the pump. I'm wondering if that's a factor, so we're going to put a fuel filter in it. We'll make a video, don't worry. But you guys that watch my day in the shop videos, you know more than the people who only watch project truck videos, so it pays to know what's going on, right? But what I brought the camera over here for is to say thanks, Rob. All right, I took this bump stop. It's meant for that arm to stop it from going too far. And oh, this is a steel ball from the old axle. I'm gonna put this in first thing this morning. I think with that bump stop out of the way, it's gonna help a lot. When I took it apart, it was like I showed you, there was no axle. It was just the inner cup and the bracket. So I think I need a little more wiggle room. So that bump stop should make all the difference. I was concerned there was a gasket in there, but there isn't. Just this seal. So this is basically just a bracket that holds it up. There it is. They probably want you to take this arm off. Just don't want it. My only concern is the axle for now. We'll worry about the mount after. As long as it doesn't hit anything to stop me. Ugh. Now that suspension bolt is hindering me, and I'm past this. Now I need to lift the diff up to get it to go in the rest of the way past this bolt. I think they must want you to take the lower arm off or something. I don't. Matsumoto, Masami, really appreciate your efforts. Alright. We're getting close. Don't try this at home, kids. Got to go forward and out a little bit. How you do that with the diff hanging on it, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Where do I gotta go? Let's go like this. Alright. Trying to pry it up from there without it in the way. We're so close. All I need is a little cooperation, Mr. Bolt. You want to fight? We'll fight. I know if I turn the camera off, it'll go right in. I think if I get the plate on there first, I think I had to do that because this one bolt hits the frame. I think I had to get the plate on the diff before I put that bolt in anyway. Get these lined up. Ugh. Jiggling and wiggling. Once I get these snugged up, then I can, it should lift up onto those mounts a little easier. I didn't make you watch the whole 20 minutes of me struggling with that before I gave up and tried a different way. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but at some point, sanity becomes important in this kind of stuff. Almost got to the point where I had to get the scope out. Do I sound confused and amazed? Yes, I do. I've been doing this a long time. And I want to say I've done one or two of these before, but I think I blocked a lot of it out because it's silly. Where'd you go? That's the hard part. That was not a brag. That was more of a hopeful expression, FYI. I don't want to get any mojo going. Get this back in. 14s. I think it goes the other way. The taper of the arm is going to come up to flat. Alright, I think my next thing is going to be to get this idler arm plate back on the crane and then get the shock hooked up. Alright, that happened fast, man. I thought you guys were watching. You weren't paying attention. But don't worry, we'll get it on the other side. Tie rod end, upper ball joint, shock bolt, 4 bolts and nuts for the lower ball joint. This is the longer nut goes on the ball joint and the shorter nut goes on the tie rod end. If you try to do it the other way, the cotter pins won't fit because the holes are not in the right place. FYI, I find out the hard way. You guys know the easy way. We're doing brakes too now, so I did the brakes. I'll show you on the other side. It's a lot easier with the brake job because the rotor and everything will be off. The knuckle won't be as heavy, so it should be a little easier going back together that way. You got to pack wheel bearings and all kinds of cool stuff on these. This ring has 3 Phillips screws, and if you don't have a JS style screwdriver with those little teeth in it, let's put a light on. Those little teeth on the screwdriver keeps it from popping out of the Phillips when you torque it. Sometimes it still doesn't work. FYI, the first 2 came right out. I turned the camera on and it didn't work. So these vessel screwdrivers, you can impact them. If you haven't seen the video, I made a video on these when I got them, but this is a full tang, like a knife. Full tang screwdriver goes all the way through. So when you hammer, you're not hitting the plastic handle. Some really expensive screwdrivers are inferior to these. These are about 80, 90 bucks a set. Highly recommend. Should be in the Amazon store. Fantastic tool. Especially compared to the tool truck brands. Costs way less and it's actually a better tool. Which is not a common thing. It happens, but not a lot. This comes off. This is keyed. So when you put it together, you got to line this nut up. You set the bearing tension. Line the nut up with the next closest hole. Shouldn't take, you don't want to hit the threads. There's 3 holes with threads and 2 holes without any threads. You can have the 2-pin tool, special socket, or you can use a punch or screwdriver and a hammer. That's about what you want. You just want a couple of foot-pounds of load on the bearings so there's room for them to heat up. Phillips comes in handy for this part. Like to check my bearings for metal. Take a look around, make sure there's no metal flakes. It looks like paint, metal flake paint in there a little bit. grease color metal flake, you got to replace the bearings and races, but these look good. This rotor unbolts from the hub, and then you have to unbolt the ABS ring from the rotor because the rotor doesn't come with it. 3 Allen bolts, and they're really tight, and I used a quarter drive to get them out because they're quarter drive size in the back at this size Allen, which is, I think, is about a 7mm, maybe a 6. We'll take a look. I used a gear wrench 120 XP and a carbine 5mm. Oh, it's bigger than that. Okay, shows you what I know. Oh, you know what? That's why. This was for a different part. This is for the ABS bolt. This one is for these 6mm. That's what I thought. I thought I was wrong once. I was mistaken. A little bit of rust in there, so sometimes I'll give these a love tap going in. Make sure you got it seated all the way. That's how these usually strip. If the Allen tool isn't in it all the way, it'll just rip the top of it off. You know, the half of the Allen will be pulled off because you're not all the way in there. Good thing the cast iron's not sharp. They're really tight on there. It's the bad thing about the Allen bolt design. Traps dirt, rust, corrosion, all kinds of stuff. And that's what happens. Your tool doesn't go all the way in, it'll strip out. Sometimes I'll take a pocket screwdriver and dig it out. Get the new rotor. The best way is to do this with a workbench. I don't feel like carrying everything over to the workbench. I'm just going to swap the rotor over now and move on to replacing the axle on the driver's side. Then we'll come back to the brakes last, going together. Now that I know we're doing a brake job, it's a little lighter. It'll be a little easier, I hope. I'm not trying to brag on it yet. And now 17s for the hub. I usually just look for pull a couple of these out to get a sight on it. We'll torque them after we get it on the truck. I have my gun turned down a little bit, so we'll just leave this here. We're going to clean it all up when we put it back on, when we get back to that part. Now we're getting close. It's about to happen. Problem is, I think I'm going to have to take this pitman arm out of my way. But we'll see. Because of the way the snap rings are, I was hoping they were just the regular horseshoe ones and I could get in there with a punch and a hammer and slide the axle out, but the way these are regular snap rings, you can't do that. Here's my problem. The bracket is trapped by the steering, so I might be able to pop the bushing out of the center link and leave the arm on and just swing it over and drop this down. Not sure which way would be easier. Getting a pitman arm off a steering box can often be a chore. Sometimes I have to cut them, so we don't want to do that if we can avoid it. Let's think about it a minute and we'll come back, try to figure out how we're going to attack this. I swung the steering all the way over just for kicks to see if it would clear, and it looks like it got a little better. We might be able to sneak that out of there. It's all about the distance from the frame to the center link, and I don't know. I don't know yet. It can go back a little, but it hits the arm, the nut for the torsion bar, or lower arm. Got my drip pan and my drip pan doing drip pan stuff. Let's see. Oh. This is what I love about this kind of thing. I've been saying it the whole job, I guess, but look how close it is to fit now. It's so close. It's ridiculous. Alright, I'm gonna have to lower the center link, I think. The pitting arm will get out of the way, but we gotta lower that inner tie rod center link component. I feel better. I hope you do. I do have to push the shock up. I was hoping to avoid that, because last time it was a bear to pull it back down, but it is what it is. I'm guessing there's no gas left in it. It's not leaking though. It's just old, like me. I'm not leaking yet either, but I am old. I can sympathize. Now it should lift out. On this side, I don't think so. There we go.
I found our extra mop squeegee.
Oh, there's gears in there.
How exciting. Look at that, I beat Amazon.
Oh yeah? There it goes.
It's got herpes.
That gear popped out of there. If you want to ever do one of these on your own, this gear had pulled out of the drive gear. But we got it back in place. We'll be good. Have to clean some of this off. More critical right before it goes back together. Let's pull this off. You saw the other side. I put the snap rings holding the bearing and then the seal, 2 snap rings. We'll get the new axle in there, start getting it back together. I'm only going to show you the parts I did on the other side, so this side go a little quicker for you guys at least. All right. Pole jack helps a little bit. Get our nuts in there if I can find them. Where did I put them? There they are. I got the blue pole jack in there. It seemed to kind of help me with the height of the bracket, the height of the diff, and all that kind of stuff. Kind of has to be moved while you're putting everything together. Quite a challenge, but we got it. I think they really want you to probably pull this whole diff out and do it on a workbench. Yeah. Once I get this bolted up, this is the critical part because this pulls the seal and bearing into the housing. Then I can get the bolts in the bracket going to the frame. At least I hope I can. It's awful quiet because I'm the only one with anything to do. Slow day today. It's so quiet. I don't know if I filmed it or not, but I put a little bit of wheel bearing grease in that bearing since it's sealed from the inside and it presses against the outside seal. So I wanted to put a little wheel bearing grease. It looks like that was what was in it, so I put some more in it. Now those 2 mounting bolts, one goes from the top down, one goes from the bottom up, and I believe this is the one from the top down. Well, it's quite a ways further back than I thought. Okay. I'm a magic jack. here. So I can do this. There you go. Takes a special skinny nut and a lock locker.
Yeah, I mean, ideally just throw some actuators in it.
It's almost time for that knuckle. One of those. Where's my knuckle? Let's see if we can get this axle.
I thought it was different. If you have missing hardware, you know, how much money is trying to do. This is supposed to feed other things.
A couple more of those. Where are you at? Oh, I knew it. I knew it.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
when it comes to wires and gauges, do they include the sheath or is just the copper on the inside?
Technically includes both, but
It includes both? Because I used the 12 to cut the sheath, 14 to pull it off. And I want a wire wheel, what, 14 gauge?
small, you know, cheap wires are going to have thick insulation to make them look like they're heavier gauge. So you got to be careful of a wire with very little copper and a thick insulation.
No, I got some good copper and
12 gauge I'd use for like a fuel pump or a...
what about trailer brake? Trailer.
12 or 14 is probably good. I got tons of it in the back room. I got a bunch of wire left over from my projects and stuff. I bundled it up in the back.
Okay. Do you want to, we got different colors or the same
All
color?
kinds, probably 30 colors back there.
Jimmy,
It's back by the back back door in the back.
oh, yes, sir. Open for business. Thank you, Jimmy.
Alright. There's some other stuff going on here. Trying to get this going. That's another story. You gotta be careful. Watch your face. Keep repositioning the pry bar. Get a different bite as I get more threads.
Not on your knees, Jimmy.
Gotta do what I gotta do. Oh, it's turning. That would explain a lot. Gonna have to edit a lot of wasted time out of there. I don't want you guys to see how long it really takes. Yeah, where's my cotter pin?
Let Joe know that.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? That's lined up. What? It's almost lined up. Looked like it was. There's grease in there. I didn't bring my side cutters. A socket can be a side cutter, but a side cutter can't be a socket. Wait, told you. Where is my... Bearings are all packed. Right off. It's a big deal. That was fun. Perfect. Now I got to put on my lock plate. This side there's no bevels. This side has bevels. I got that lined up nice. Beginner's luck. Clean this up. There was no gasket or RTV on it. I'm gonna put a little on there just to make me feel better. It wasn't leaking. But since I just worked on it, it might. So we're gonna avoid that whole situation. Thinking positive thoughts only gets you so far if you're not also doing it correctly. Washers, snap ring. This bolt doesn't hold anything together, but they give it to you with the axle. So I use it to hold the axle out while I push the snap ring into the groove. Because that snap ring barely fits. Some brake pads. We're getting close. A little happy grease. $17. I didn't loosen that one, but I still want to check it. Ball joint's tight on the bottom. Ball joint, cotter pin. Nut, cotter pin. I got both of my plate mount bolts. 4 bolts on the plate itself. That's all set. I got to put a splash shield on. First I'm going to check the differential fluid, make sure that's topped up because we spilled a little bit out of each end when we worked on it. So it'll probably take a little splash. It'll look brand new. Oh, man. I got my differential filler right here. You want to see? I'll show you. This one I keep my gear oil in. Super convenient because it goes both directions, but I only use it to put mostly rear end fluid. Squeezing them in little bottles gets old pretty quick.
I'll lower it down for you, but I was really comfortable. Sorry. Thank you.
There it goes. What I do is I reverse it when it starts to leak out the hole. It's right there. Perfect. If you do fill it so it's running out, let it keep running until it stops. You don't want it to bump the threads. Yeah. There it is. onto the alignment rack. All right, we topped up the power steering, the coolant, washer fluid. I pumped the brakes up. The brake fluid's a little over full. He didn't want to do the flush, so we're gonna just set the brake fluid level where it's supposed to be. So if you have too much fluid, that can cause problems. So we're gonna take some fluid out of here, and then we're gonna get on the alignment rack. We gotta do alignment. We have the whole front end out of it. All right, that's a little better. Brake clean the area so we don't get any spillage on this beautiful 2001 Isuzu Trooper. It's gonna be a 2-day video on it, but we did a lot of work, so let's get on the alignment rack. Just found out this customer drove up from West Palm Beach for me to work on it, and he's like, oh, is it gonna be done? I'll have to get another night in the hotel. I'm like, what? Let's do compensation, get this thing done tonight. Lefty, righty, straighty. The wheel's gonna be a little off to the left. Look at that son of a gun. Don't worry, we'll fix it. I straighten it right there. Get a wheel lock on it. Right front toe. We're just gonna let it go. Nice. We can also do another once over. Look at all our work. Make sure that we're making sure. Doesn't hurt to spend a minute or two looking it over, and then if you have a chance, look it over a third time. You'd be amazed how many times you'll go, oh, I didn't slide that clamp down that overflow hose, or whatever the case may be. Happens to all of us here in the real world. Everything looks really good though, so pretty happy with that. This is a turnbuckle style system, so instead of loosening one, you loosen two, and you can see the threads are angled this way. So I want to turn this nut up in the front, and this one the same way, because those threads are angled this way. Turnbuckles, you always turn them the same way to loosen them, and the same way to tighten them. Ooh, doggy, that's tight. Don't worry, I got a pipe. See if the gear wrench can handle it though. Might have to get on a snap-on truck. One. These nuts are a little boogered up from the last time. Cool. Alright, man. See these flat spots in every corner? I didn't do it. Now, I want to go in, so I want to go the opposite direction I just went. I apologize to everyone in the Rust Belt for doing that just now. Sometimes I forget. That can be cruel. Snug this down and see what we got. That was about a turn. Sometimes if one is going to turn the adjustment, then I'll just tighten the other one first. Print a copy of that. It's not going to come out here though, because we don't have a printer. We're going to do without one. I think I mentioned that earlier. They print out in the office now, so we don't have to worry about getting paw prints on it and stuff. So that's done. All there is to do now, take it for a drive. Once I get the heads off, they'll clunk a lot if I leave them on there. And we'll drive it, seat the pads, make sure the wheel's straight, make sure there's nothing weird going on with noises or anything like that. And this one will be done. There you go. Time for a drive. I did go around this thing really good. I'm always pretty clean, especially compared to some mechanics. But I mean, this car is so clean, and for an old car, he's really got to want it clean. So that's what we're doing. I went over it. I'm gonna take it for a drive. Oh, that thing's nice. That thing is nice, and this floor mat is not. Yet I used it. Floor mat already had some marks on it, but you guys didn't see yesterday's video. The first day on this vehicle, I should say. He's actually waxes the door jambs and stuff. I mean, this thing. But we did good. I don't see any paw prints on it anywhere. Should be nice. I don't know if we'll get something else done today or not. It hasn't been busy. A lot of the guys were standing around watching me fix this one. But we'll see if we can get something else done today. Well, the doors are coming down. Nothing else happened. So we only got the trooper done today. That's how it goes some days. Of course, the trooper's a pretty good ticket, but it did take 2 days to do almost. So we did okay on that one. Wish there would have been something else for you to see, but maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. I appreciate you guys watching. Torque the like button before you head out if you will. I appreciate that. And don't forget, I got an Amazon store you can check out. A link in the description below for a few brands that are supporting the channel. And when you guys click those links, that also supports the channel. So that is much appreciated. But more than anything, you know, that stuff's all accessory stuff. If I make a couple of extra dollars so I can pay my electric bill, that's great. But it's not a requirement. I just appreciate your company, knowing that you're there. So more than anything, I hope I see you in the next video, because you're awesome.